Hi, all. Welcome to this program called Master Speaks. In this program, we identify the masters across the globe and masters, those who have written book, who are having great depth in their knowledge and the way they have shown leadership. And in today's episode, we are talking to Mr. Anil Khandelwal, who was CMD of Bank of Baroda, and he is one of the phenomenal leaders. So, sir, I welcome you to this
Thank you.
show, and thanks for taking your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, sir, in this particular session, I would like to speak to you or discuss your new book, which has come, which is called The Gem of Leadership. What made you think about coming up with this book?
I think leadership journey must be shared. Um, and the reason that I wrote Dare to Lead was that we had a good story to tell to people that how in a public sector, with its constraints and in the shortest possible time, it is really possible to do many things to resurrect the bank to its glorious past and undertake a massive transformation in a large size, geographically dispersed organization with 40,000 employees and 30 million customers. So one of the reasons for writing the earlier book was that I was told by my mentors and great well-wishers that we had good story to tell for future generations as to how we can reconstruct the organizations. It has larger message for organizations who are undergoing changes. So that was the context of that book. Now, I have been writing books, even pre-retirement, post-retirement. I have been in the training and human resource function for a long time, almost 25 years. And my entry into business function has been rather late, and that too at a senior level. So I cannot qualify to say myself as a dyed-in-the-wool banker, but definitely knowing as much banking which is necessary to perform my role. And when I look back, I think what we require in organizations are not merely technology play or the specialization play, whether banking or FMCG. At the top, what gives decisive competitive advantage to any organization is the leadership play. And I must concede that this has been my personal fascination to study about leaders, about organizations, about turnaround stories, about transformation. And I did realize in various leadership roles that I got in the bank to play that. And one of my strong belief that I developed in the banking sector, my belief was that banks are long-term institutions
Yep.
which keeps money in trust.
I agree.
And therefore, transactions are only manifestation of your operational efficiency. It is the transformation which will manifest confidence of people, trust of people. And the transformation means that you are creating a bank for the future, which can meet successfully the tsunami of changes which had begun with the advent of the year 2000, technology and whatnot. And today, of course, we are in a VUCA environment. So, coming back, transformation for us at that point of time meant a whole series of things: implementation of technology, brand building, culture building. And at the end of the day, no transformation can be celebrated unless business performance
Absolutely.
can vindicate the effort made. And I'm happy to share that in just 3 years, with the collective genius of people around,
Yes.
we could transform the bank, we could implement technology, we can bring out many innovations in customer service, we experiment with innovations in employee centricity, and the bank doubled its business, attracting almost global attention to this phenomenal turnaround of the bank.
Yes, wonderful, sir. So, sir, when we particularly go on Google or probably go to Gemini or some other place and we say that, recommend is something good thing on leadership, and you see, hundreds and thousands of recommendation coming in, and it's just the web is full of, or even if you go to the libraries, they're full of books of leadership. When there is so much of literature available, why we always see a deficit in leadership?
This is a good question. 10 years back, when I conceptualized to write something on leadership, this is the question I was always asking: why another book on leadership? And I didn't get the answer at that time. In the process, I wrote 3, 4 more books. It was only 2 years back. There was a certain kind of epiphany in my morning gym when I was really gymming, and I thought that look here, to come to gym, I have to follow a discipline of getting up early. I have to have passion that I enjoy what I do. I have to have tolerance for occasional bruises that I get.
Absolutely.
I also needed a good trainer to train me. And I also realized that it's a slow process. Overnight, I cannot develop my muscles. And I found that there is certain degree of resonance in building leadership and gym. Leadership is an act of volunteering by an individual. Unless an individual deploys herself into the making of leader, no amount of organizational help, no amount of outside effort can work. Second, the passion, the consistency, and a mentor and coach. And that's the time the book was born in my mind. And that was my eureka moment.
Absolutely.
And then I started thinking and like develop 6-pack, 8-pack, 10-pack, whatever.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking of our own pack of skills, and I'm basically some intent for research before I undertake. I met hundreds of managers in various training programs, met college students, I met parents, I met corporate executives. We're trying to find out which are the skills in different areas, millennials, what skills they require. And on the basis of all that, I finally settled for 18 skills of leadership. And they are grouped into 4 sections: the self, the emotional well-being, relationship, and communication. So these 18 skills are put in that.
Absolutely. So another thing which really fascinates me is a lot of people who after coming out from a bank, they go and they work in from a format of that they want to work with bankers, they want to work with fintechs. But if we take your example, you are actually working on leadership, you are actually working on governance. And why is that? How do you connect leadership and governance going hand in hand, sir?
Look here, I always believe, and it is also mentioned in my book, when you look at the self. What is managing oneself, we say? Identify your strengths and enhance those strengths. Now, as I said, that my major strength has been human resource, leadership, and I thought to enhance that, and I also discovered that the leadership play is fundamental to future development of corporates. Absence of it can make organizations weak.
Absolutely.
presence of it can make them more resilient and sustaining. So one is my intellectual interest in this field. My intellectual interest. I've been a trainer for 13 years and human resource man. I did my PhD in this area in management and all that. One is intellectual interest. My second thing was behavioral interest, that by nature, I think most performance problems have their genesis in leadership.
Yes.
This was my behavioral orientation. The third thing, on the basis of my experience of working as CEO, I realized, and that was our work also, that if you focus on what you these days say softer issues,
Yes.
but I call them intangibles, like culture building,
Absolutely.
like human resource, like leadership, like brand, like developing technology mindset. These are the drivers of business. Pitiably, we focus too much on transactional business. We put people under pressures. I was trying to keep the ladder right, so it is not ricketing ladder. People can ride on this and demonstrate. They can climb on this. And I am happy to share that my philosophy of working on intangibles created dramatic tangibles outcome. And it is also supported by international research. Dave Ulrich of Kellogg and others have demonstrated that intangibles contribute 70 to 80% to market capitalization.
Wow.
Imagine two organizations having same profitability, but their P ratio is different. Why? Because intangibles. Look at great corporations. They get premium for their greatness. What is greatness? Their culture, their people, their leadership. So, unfortunately, in the rush of business, these aspects are left out. So I focused post-retirement to work in the area of leadership. In spite of many proposals for board positions, which of course I also joined some boards. But then slowly I joined boards and got experience of governance and sometimes even the deficit governance. So I moved on to the area of governance and leadership. Today I speak on these subjects in conferences. I write about these things. This book is a byproduct of that intellectual orientation.
Listeners, I would like to bring into your notice that, right from my school days, I'm in a habit of reading at least 40 books a year. And in a bad year, it would be somewhere around 20 books. When you talk about this book in specific about, the gem of leadership, the way it is written is so beautiful that it will engross you into that you read more and more kind of stuff. Not only that, but implement it. And you would be surprised in a couple of hours, I was able to read almost like 90 pages of the book. There is a practice regime being given in a gym format. If you follow them, you will be able to become a good leader. Now, so I guess all of the people across our listeners might not have this time, or probably they might find it difficult to understand, implementing all 18 skills. So, as a must of leadership, what would you suggest? That what are those 3-4 important skills which are non-negotiable that a leader should have?
Normally, I don't believe in prescription. In fact, one of the things this book was triggered was by a lot of prescriptions and sermons about leadership. Jokingly, I say there are more books on leadership than actual leaders
I agree.
in the world. But your question is important from that lest the book becomes intimidating in terms of number of skills. Coming from my experience, and each one can have their own experience, I would focus, number one thing is working on the self. Self is the instrument of leaders. As Casio and harmonium is the instrument of musicians, and they practice over it hours and hours. Great musicians practice 5 hours, 6 hours. As the brush and the canvas is the medium of expression of a painter, that she enhances that on that. Leader's instrument is the self.
Yes.
Working on the self in terms of strengths, shortcomings, through process of reflection, correction, action. I think the main thing is, if there is one non-negotiable skill, is working on the self. Because otherwise, when we grow up in our career, most leaders, under the influence of pressure of work, they get sucked into the power conundrum and starting acting in a manner that is not leaders like. But if the leader is reflective, he will on the daily basis understand what is going right and why, and what is going wrong and why. And it is through distillation of this thought process that leadership remains a work in progress for effective leaders. So, therefore, one of the key skills is self. The second thing is that I believe, and I have always believed in that, is some personal convictions. Who you are, why are you here, why are you in organization? Are you here to enjoy the power that goes with your position? Are you here to exploit people, get away with your time somehow? Or you are here to make a larger contribution so that several years after you have left, organization survives. So, personal purpose, conviction. The third is your personal reputation and credibility. Do most people in the organization feel that our leaders are bully? They say something, they do something else, they talk, they give lectures, they give sermons, but look at it, what he's doing. They say come in time, but whenever he calls, he's never on time, he's never visible. They say many things which they don't practice. I think I will put credibility of leaders as number one thing. A credible leader is the greatest asset. And a leader without credibility is the biggest liability for any organization. Lastly, if I can say, is the courage.
Yes, sir.
Courage to take risks. Courage to move organization in uncharted territories. Courage to create adaptability in the organization through new competencies building, new capabilities building. Courage to learn. Courage to own responsibility. I think I will put these four things as non-negotiable leadership orientation.
Yes, sir. So, as you said about, and the book has around 18 skills, and these four skills that you have told right now are non-negotiable and important. Which I must really appreciate, that this book has got tons of references. It would have been really painstaking to write such a book, bring in more than few hundreds of references. Every chapter has been worked in so detail. So, what is the common thread that you see across in this book and when you are writing? And is there a common thread of leadership while writing this?
Well, yeah. Look here. At no stage I thought that I have arrived, I am a great leader. I have always been a learner myself. And therefore, before I started writing this book and the intermediate period when I conceptualized the book, I was reading a lot of things. I underwent almost during COVID, I undertook from a friend's health classes on Bhagavad Gita, on Vedas. What are they talking? I have been a very, you can say, uh, not somebody who just buys things just because our mythology provides it. I'm a person. For example, I was asking my friend that why in Gita Krishna says, I am the God, I am Bhagavan. Is it not being arrogant? Being arrogant? So I can ask some silly questions myself, and then you get stuff as to what, So my learning pattern is slow, inquisitive, curiosity rules my mind, and I'm never hesitant to ask the silliest question. So all these years, I was reading what Confucius philosophy is talking, what Osho is talking. There's a whole book on courage by Osho. I was going through, and some amazing things I found in all the readings. And then I got into Stoic philosophy.
Yes, sir.
Uh, and I find some fantastic ideas there, that how some old Roman rulers have practiced rules, have practiced what you should say, the canons of governance. So the point I'm saying is, and on the basis of that, a collective format that came to my mind was that we seem to have complicated the whole business of teaching leadership. If you ask me honestly, to learn credibility, you don't have to go to any management institute. Your mother has taught you credibility. Your parents have told that, look here, whatever you say, you follow, or whatever. What's so great to learn? I'm not undermining there. But yes, to do further research, to understand more perspective, you do need academic guidance. Yeah. But for a basic lessons in leadership, you can learn daily in your organization through some effective leaders, through your own experience, through your reflection. So a variety of things required. It's like a gym. Absolutely. You are reading, you are learning, you are seeing people in action.
Yes, sir.
So we seem to have made a simple subject complicated. So the common thread which comes in all this is that leadership is nothing but, and of course, let me hasten to add, I also read some of the best researchers and writers on leadership. One of my role model, or you can say the best guide on leadership, have been Warren Bennis, one of the best leadership writers. What wisdom he has provided on leadership. And many others, many professors who have done research of international quality. So all that brings me to some foundational skills on leadership, and which I will sum up, that becoming a leader is a journey. There is no Victoria terminus, that after 20 years experience and doing a PhD, you have arrived as a leader. We all are work in progress in leadership.
Absolutely.
Certain incident happened, how we react, should we have reacted that way? And we discover on reflection, no, it's a work in progress. We again reflect back. So, some basic principles people have provided, which are everywhere, in every scripture, in every book. But if it was that easy, then it is not easy. I think the catch of becoming leader is in practice, in the riyaz of leadership.
I agree. Yes, sir.
And in the credibility. Why after several decades, we have to give example only of a Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King? What is so common? Why we cannot give hundreds of examples? Yes, many others have done. Because they enjoyed credibility. They sacrificed their personal
interests,
quest to become somebody, and they spoke truth.
I agree.
And they did not broker power. They did not fall into the trap of power. So the spirit of sacrifice, courage, credibility, high reputation, integrity. These are all stuff of leadership.
Yes, sir.
But see, the point is, Gandhi is inside us. The moment you become credible and truth teller,
Absolutely. You don't have to search for him.
there is a Gandhi inside you.
Absolutely.
The day you behave in a particular way, or you have mastered something, you are somebody. So it is, as I say, leadership is nothing but investment of the self into the self.
I agree.
It is the self which can enhance your reputation. It is the self which can degenerate you
Yes, sir.
as a human being.
I agree, sir. So, sir, now what I see now, like, in the last 4 decades, leadership has significantly changed. Earlier, it was like hierarchical, and then we talk about, like, bringing in inclusive at the moment of inclusion of everybody into the leadership. Now we are talking about technology transformations and the way gig economy and every other things are coming in. So from that perspective, how do you see that, that what will be the skills required in future for the future leaders?
Continuous learning and adaptability. Now, for example, AI has come. It is like tsunami of AI. But if leaders are not learning and they think that AI is the business of their CTO,
Yes, sir.
yes, technically operationalizing, but you must show curiosity as to how I can use AI to change my organization, to align my organization, how I can save my organization from undergoing obsolescence. And I think little more than uh, the use of AI in new product innovation, in operational efficiency, in customer relationship management, in a whole lot of things which I may not be able to articulate. So curiosity, learning in the new technology area, the past is past. You can't manage tomorrow from yesterday's mindset and methodology.
Yes, sir.
So the leadership challenge now is, in a highly technological society, is more building social system of the organization that provides comfort for people, that provides a culture where everyone can ask a question, everyone can contribute, everyone can innovate, because knowledge hierarchy has shrunk. There is nothing like that you are a top banker and there is a base level banker. The knowledge has shrunk. AI and its use and technology has shrunk the hierarchy of knowledge. And therefore, tomorrow the person you recruit, you may have written a book on cyber security. The man you recruit may be knowing more than you. So therefore, that hierarchy is broken. And that hierarchy cannot be run by organizational hierarchy that I am the boss. And therefore, the role of boss is to build social system of the organization, that everyone is motivated to contribute without constraint, that everyone is taken care of, that ideas are respected, that conflicts are resolved, that problems are settled. I think that is the new challenge, and what I call, and of course, management science has long back spoken, that organizations are nothing but socio-technical systems.
Yes, sir.
But unfortunately, technical system is overfed. If it is banking, FMCG, selling. Social system needs to be nurtured in order that there is a balance and alignment in the technical and the social system.
Yes.
This is a new challenge for our leaders.
So another thing, now that we are talking about the future generations, now I'll go a bit into the past as well. What would be your advice to younger yourself? So,
To younger myself will be, if I'm reborn, I will still prepare for leadership lessons. I will still try to be a better human being. I will still try to get over the mistakes I have committed, and there are many. That there are things that I may not have known, which are unpardonable, that I'll be becoming more sensitive to about it. My focus still will be on that. Apart from maintaining my curiosity and learning, I'm happy that I became what I became, because I always thought in the act of leadership, in my very first job, I saw two contrasts of a very ineffective manager and a very effective manager. And that fascinated me, that how the act of leadership can have dramatic impact on people's motivation and people's productivity. And that thought I carried throughout my career. Behind every problem, trust me, even behind, what should I say, even operational problem, I found that there was deficit leadership action.
Yes, sir.
Leadership is all encompassing. Leadership is omnipotent,
Yes.
omnipresent in making organizations organic, performing, and deliverable.
Yes. So another thing, since now I've asked about the past thing, now I come to the present part. So you're 77 years young and in very good health. What do you do? What is your regime? How you keep good health and things? How do you bring this energy that keeps you moving?
See, one of the things I've got my life's principle is there has to be minimum dissonance in what I talk and what I do. Minimum. We are all human beings to that extent. Some hypocrisy is there in everyone. I'm not a god. You are not a god. So I say four things in self-leadership. One is physical fitness. So I have a rigorous physical fitness regime. I spend 2.5 hours to 3 hours every day on myself. This helps me building my stamina, resilience, curiosity, and whatever
Yes.
you feel. And this physical fitness is also not only a gym or other exercises or going to a swimming or whatever, but also food habits.
Yes.
Being a North Indian, I've been a bit prodigal with food habits, but I'm increasingly becoming more conscious because both the things go together. The second is intellectual fitness. I devote a lot of time on intellectual fitness in the area I work, remaining curious, I read a lot, I buy books, I write, and that brings me in touch with like-minded people who are intellectually sharp, intellectually bright. I learn from everyone. I learn with great curiosity. Intellectual fitness is important. Now I have time, so I read different kind of things. For example, I was never a student of English literature. I never read Shakespeare and say, people are talking of Macbeth as you like it, this, that. So I'm now reading those kind of things. I never read something systematically about many things that I am doing. And of course, my natural thing, I fall back on latest, on leadership, research, this, that. So intellectual fitness. Third is behavioral fitness, where success is very partial. That we are all a victim of our nature. And I tell you, this is a constant work through reflective practice, that how to behave, how to keep your, adrenal under under constant control. That is another thing that I work. And fourth is spiritual fitness, that the entire meaning of life. Why are you here on this planet? What is it? What is your responsibility with regard to people around you in the society? Those kind of larger issues which comes to me by my now occasional reading of scriptures and other things.
So it was really wonderful to talk to you today. It was a wonderful session. I've learned a lot, and I'm very sure that the people of my audience who have been waiting to learn about leadership would have certainly learnt a lot. And again, I would request all of you to read this book. These are my notes that I've prepared, and I'm quite sure you will have much more, and you would be able to become a better leader by practicing what's written in